Hi everybody, I'm Not Your Average Mom. Today we're going to be learning how to make a homemade mask. Today for this project you're going to need 2 pieces of fabric, one in a pattern and one solid color. Both of them have to be 7.5 by 8.5 inches, and I'll show you how to cut those in a little bit. You're going to need a rotary cutting board and a ruler, or just a ruler will work. To cut your fabric, you're going to need a rotary cutter or some scissors. And then during your project, you're going to need a seam ripper just in case you make mistakes. A pair of sewing scissors. I like to use these because they get all those little threads out. Some pins. And then you're also going to need a 1/4 inch thickness elastic. 2 pieces, 7.5 inches both pieces. The way that I cut my fabric is I look at which way the pattern is going. So in this case, SpongeBob's body and feet are going that way. So I want to cut this at 7.5 inches. So if you look at it, when I cut the mask, it's going to be looking the right way. So I always put a weight on top of my ruler just so that it doesn't move out of the way. And then I check because sometimes the rotary cutter doesn't cut on the first swipe. There you go. And then I'm just going to cut it 8.5 the other way. I always cut this piece off first because we don't want to get that inside of our mask. And then I line up the 2 edges just so I can cut 2 masks at a time. It saves a little time that way. And you can use a weight or a fabric weight if you have it. You don't really have to spend money on a fabric weight if you have something heavy laying around the house. There you go. Okay, so now that we have our 2 pieces of fabric cut, I'm going to be using a sewing machine today, but you can also use a needle and thread and do this by hand. First thing you want to do is line up both fabrics with the pattern side in on top of the solid. You can go ahead and pin them down. I personally don't do this extra step just because it's already easy for me to do it. I've been doing so many masks. Okay, so now you have both fabrics lined up. You're just going to sew about 1 centimeter in on the edge to sew them both together. Okay, as you can see, they're both together now. So the next thing you want to do is you want to fold your crease on the side. Okay, you're going to go in about 1 centimeter and then sew that down just so you can get a nice edge. If you feel comfortable doing it, you can put pins in it. I personally don't, but you're more than welcome to pin it down if it makes it easier for you. Just so you can see the edge. And then you repeat the same thing on the other side. Okay. So now you have both sides sewn in. Here's what it looks like from the other side. So you're going to flip it on the pattern side, and then you're going to fold it in a fan. So you're going to fold the first bottom part 1 inch and then the part behind it is about 1 centimeter. Okay, so you don't want to take up too much fabric. Then you're going to fold it at 1 centimeter, and again, always leaving 1 centimeter behind. Okay, and then what you're going to do is pin this down so it stays in place for when you sew it together. And again, you're just flattening it down with your hands. So there you go. Okay, same thing on the other side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew in a zigzag shape all right down here, about 1.5 centimeters away from the edge. And this is going to allow you to open it up nicer, like an accordion, I guess you could say, when it's finally all said and done. So there you go. That's what it looks like. And then you're going to do all 4 sides. So I have my 2 pieces of elastic and my mask. The next step is to turn it over, pattern side down, and you're going to pin the elastic in place at the very bottom of the pattern side and at the very edge. Okay, so right here, so as to not get in the way of your sewing machine. And it has about 1 centimeter leeway on the inside. And then from the top, it's going to be about 1 centimeter down because we're going to fold that later and sew it. Okay. Okay, do that on both sides. And then just make sure that the elastic is not twisted up like this. Make sure that it's going to go nicely around your ear, like that. See how it curves in like that? Okay. All right, now we are going to sew zigzag right along here. The zigzag pattern allows for a little bit more support on the elastic since it's such a thick material. And we want to make sure that it stays on for a long time, especially since these are washable. And then you're going to go over the elastic about 4 times just to make sure that it's nice and attached. And then I just feed it right through onto the next one and then over onto the other side. So let me just tell you that doing it this way is going to leave all this extra threading that you can easily cut off. But the reason why I do it this way is it saves you a lot of time, so you don't have to sit there and re-thread this through, re-put it on, cut it off. It's just a lot of extra work for me, especially when I'm doing 30 masks in one day sometimes. So we're just going to cut this off. Clean it up, see? Take your pins out. Same thing on the other side. Just clean it up. Okay, they're on nicely. There you go. See, they're very supported by this zigzag. The last step, well, not the last step, but you fold it inward with the pattern side in, and you're going to sew right along the edge about a 1/2 centimeter in, just to close it off. And I reverse on the edges and sew it again every time I sew one of these masks shut, just because it gives it a little extra support. It's sewn shut now. You can cut off all these extra little strings just to clean it up. And then you're going to turn it right side out. Last step, this is really the last step now. You are going to sew right at the top, as close to the edge as you can. Flatten it out so that the blue, in my case it's blue, is behind the SpongeBob pattern, so that when you put the mask on, it's not going to show the inside of the mask. And I'll show you right here. I did this one in black so that you can see it very well. You see how you have an edge at the top and you have an edge at the bottom. So when you open it up, it opens nice and clean. Alright, so here you go, guys. This is the finished product. And it has a hole for your filter. Hope you guys liked my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content. I will be posting every Friday. Hit that like button if you liked my video, and comment below if you have any questions. See you next time.